Good morning, Bande Matram. Welcome all of you. So this morning, in the process of discussing Savitri summarization, we are going to the very interesting portion of the Sri Aurobindo's Yoga in the name of Asapati's Yoga. So that is on, of course, book 2, Canto 1, The World Stair. So entire thing we will see under the banner of book of the Traveler of the Worlds. Here the Traveler of the Worlds is nobody except Aswapati, King Aswapati. So here we are going to discuss, of course, focus upon the gist on the world stair. While considering the entire Savitri, actually it focuses upon two parts. One is, of course, it is focused on King Aswapati's or Sri Aurobindo's yoga, and second part will start with Savitri's yoga. So we are going in deep inside in the term of discussion to the Aswapati's yoga. So this is the book of the Traveler of the Worlds, Canto 1, book 2, Canto 1. Here we are taking the world stair. So it is a beautiful topic. Sri Aurobindo, of course, it is moving forward, elevating, of course, ascending forward, ascending upward, and whatever he has achieved, he has seen everything has been sketched by his in his own from his own experience in his own terms, and it is a glorious discussion. And the difference between part 1 and part 2 will feel when Raja King Aswapati started his yoga and started writing, adventuring into the space. Of course, there was a very little bit, the road was not at all clear, it was nothing was actually made, no road was prepared. So in terms of while Sri Aurobindo was constructing, he started constructing the road. He tried to push forward. He gained some experience. He, of course, sketched in his own methods and styles. And this was a great help to the entire questing world. So we are going to discuss right now the world stair. It is a big topic, of course. We normally find in the term of our discussion. It is a good topic. In the entire chapter, we'll find there are actually 14 cantos, 15 cantos rather. So here we will find beautifully, but we will start one by one, step by step. Entire the process have been sketched, starting from the wall stair. Will reach on the very 15th canto, that is on the kingdoms of the greater knowledge. So step by step procedure we will try to go, and of course we know in a, it is a summarization, it is a gist. We'll try to know the outlines, what exactly is have been recorded there. The very initial lines here in the quotes, alone he moved watched by the infinity. Alone he moved watched by the infinity, because nobody was there, nobody intended to go, nobody had the courage to go, nobody explored or adventured into that space. And around him and the unknowable above, all could be seen that sons the mortal eye. All could be seen that sons the mortal eye. Then all could be known that the mind has never grasped. All could be done, no mortal will can dare. Nothing has been known. It is totally what he is exploring and adventuring. It is beyond the scope of human mind and life, and of course, mortal will. Nobody has been has reached there. None has dared even to touch. All could be seen that sons the mortal eye. All could be known, the mind has never grasped, beyond the limitation, beyond the scope. All could be done, no mortal will can dare. A limitless moment fulfilled his limitless peace. So we'll go a little bit how really it has been summarized, because step by step and line by line we are not at all going. It is we are taking our procedure. As Ashwapati moves in the realms of the unknown, he is adventuring forward. All that is beyond the human ken comes to his range. That is beyond the human ken that is coming into his range. There is no limit anywhere. Everything is limitless. A boundless movement filled his boundless peace. A boundless movement fills a boundless peace. Beyond this earth existence, he enters into the another existence where the soul essays in the oneness of all amidst the free place of the multitude of possibilities realized from the infinity. So there is a free play beyond the scope of mind. Nobody has dared, nobody, of course, they have achieved beyond the scope of mind, life, and the body. So, this is a great adventure. Nobody has tried. Sri Aurobindo is adventuring forward. It is very interestingly, this is world stare, entire world. He is staring forward and upward, and the vision has been described here. Here, the inexpressible moves into the multiple expression. The inexpressible, so-called inexpressible, can't be expressed. He has been moved into the multiple expression, and the soul takes delight in all experience. The soul takes delight in all existence, and which is perceived and realized to be one plan. So nothing has been beyond the scope of mind and life and body. The soul takes delight in all experience. It is the matter of soul, and with the adventure of soul and adventure of consciousness, we can find that Sapati is, of course, meeting all these things with happiness, which is perceived and realized to be one plan, no diversification. Nothing has been. It is nothing segmented. So everything seems to be a single plan. Steer in the course here beautifully. The all even pain was the soul's pleasure here. All even the pain was the soul's pleasure here. Steer in the again course beautifully. There rose unborn into the unchanging surge, words that immortal last through, though fallen mute. The eternal stillness of the unmoved joy. His universal power is at work display. So he can find the greater vision, greater truth, of course, greater variability. Nothing escaped his vast intuitive sight. It starts that term has been used, his intuitive sight, from the very beginning. We have seen nothing escaped his vast intuitive sight. That is a great description, of course. Intuitive sight. No, that is with this the initial level we can find his intuitive side. Nothing was drew near. He could not feel his skin. Everything was very much close to his longing heart, and the intuitive side could to be expressed, escaped. Nothing could be escaped. Against your the course, they are lived out in their self-born atmosphere, and they resumed their topless speech and native power. So this is the glorious description as described by Sri Aurobindo. Here we can find the another topic, another some description we'll find directly from Sri Aurobindo. The idea self-luminous key to all ideas. The idea self-luminous key to all ideas. That equates the integer of the spirit's perfect sum, that equates the unequaled world to the equal one. Just imagine how it is. The single sign interceding every sign, the absolute index to the absolute. So this is the great description we can find while we are going for the recitation and reading of Savitri in this big format. So anyway, we'll try to go a little bit forward as per the description of Sri Aurobindo. Asapati enters into the identity with the immensity that sees and feels around. So from the limitation, from the confines, Sri Aurobindo is moving forward into the identity with the immensity that sees and feels around. Every form, every movement reveals to him some aspect. So into the largeness, into the greatness, into the immensity, Sri Aurobindo Asapati is actually enters into identity with all the greatnesses and magnanimity. Every form, every movement reveals to him some aspect. Every form, every movement reveals to him some aspect, some state of the ineffable. So everything, all feelings, all experience, everything seems to be very interestingly, very much new and progressive. All the worlds of heaven and hell imagined by the human mind, hell and heaven imagined by the human mind are found here in their true setting, provided the full forum of the existence of the pleasure and the pain. So anything what we have expressed, pleasure and pain, heaven and hell, everything was bare to his naked eyes. And a vast occult domain before him. He can find a vastness, vast domain, vast realm. Everything is vast, nothing is confined. He finds in his and feels and sees in his own eyes. Knowledge in new contents, power in flaming immensities, beautiful. Bliss in endless waves after themselves up to his experience. Coming, many things are coming into his ken. There are knowledge in the new contents, number one. Power in flaming intensities, bliss in endless waves offer themselves to his experience. But in all this varied opulence of the infinity, Ashwapati misses the secret that holds all in a whole, the truth that is that wells all to the one, finds everything, sees everything is vast, everything is magnanimous, there is no doubt of it, everything is widened. But here also find bliss in endless way, offers themselves to the experience. You can see knowledge in the new contents, power in flaming intensities, and the bliss in endless waves offer themselves to his experience. He is experiencing all. But the problem is that some lacuna, some problem is that, but in all varied opulence of the infinity, Ashwapati misses the secret that holds the whole. The secret, something that is a secret which holds the whole, the truth that welds the all in one. That actually he misses. So we'll go and read few lines from Savitri directly, how he quotes Sri Aurobindo actually. Their world apart by its own innerness in a mystical barrage of the dynamic light, he saw a lone, immense, high-carved wall pile, erect like a mountain chariot of the gods, motionless under the inscrutable sky. So this is the vision he can visualize here, mounting into great voiceless stillnesses. It marries earth to the screened eternities. You can see and please well. Sri Aurobindo again quotes after some time beautifully, that is, our life is a holocaust of the Supreme. Our life is a holocaust of the Supreme. The great world mother by her sacrifice has made her soul the body of our state. That glorious, really, really top recognition, top in this description here. Our life is a holocaust of the Supreme. The great world mother by her sacrifice has made her soul the body of our state. Accepting sorrow and unconsciousness, divinity slaps from its own splendors of the many patterned ground of all we are. So we can go. His power is packed with the stuff of greater worlds. Her power is packed with the stuff of greater worlds. Again, Sri Aurobindo quotes moves forward and describes the feeling. His vast design accepts a puny start, an attempt, a drawing half done is the world's life. Against here in the quotes, a graph shall be of many meeting worlds. A graph shall be of many meeting worlds. A cube and union crystal of the God. A mind shall think behind nature's mindless mask. Mind shall think behind the nature's mindless mask. A conscious vast fill the old dumb brood space. This faint and fluid sketch of soul we called man, definition of man. This faint and fluid sketch of soul called man shall stand out on the background of the long time, a glowing epitome of eternity, a little point revealed to the infinitudes. So, again, after the describing man, Sri Aurobindo goes little forward. A mysterious process is the universe. About the universe, a mysterious process is the universe. At first was laid a strange anomalous base, a void, a cipher of some secret hole whose zero held infinity in its sum. Just imagine how even a literarian in the so-called literarian Sri Aurobindo, he quotes mathematics in his viewed own words and own formats, where zero held infinity in its sum, and all and nothing were a single term. An eternal negative, a matrix not into the forms of a child is ever born, who lives forever in the verse of God. So just imagine how this is has been expressed and glorified. Again, little bit we'll move forward in our own description. We'll little by little we'll move forward with the next further description. Looking still inward, not the outward or outward expression realization. Looking still inward, Ashwapati comes to see an immense world pile. That's what we were just describing right now. That world pile we saw right now. He comes to see an immense pile, a huge column of walls upon walls, column of walls after walls. But we are confined to a single wall, and we feel this is all. But walls after upon walls, raging from the plinth of matter. From the plinth of matter, he can find piles of walls and after walls, and ascending into the unknowable summits of the spirit. Through these walls, matter's plinth, and after the walls after walls, he is ascending into the unknowable summits of the spirit. He perceives in it the great stair down which the spirit has descended. Perceives in the great stair, that is the stair we can find worlds after that descended, and up which the soul has to ascend. The soul has to ascend that stair, that piles, world piles, and this hierarchy of worlds Sri Aurobindo finds in his own vision. Again, we'll go. These stair of gradations, these stairs of gradations of the being, so stair where actually soul has to ascend up, of consciousness is reproduced in each individual. That is for the progress of each individual stair, the soul has to come. Each individual, it is the case of each individual. It links up the lowest levels of inconscience with the highest levels of superconscience. Superconscience. Two things are there. On the below, at the lowermost point, it is inconscience, and at the top, it is superconscience. Sri Aurobindo finds it. This stair of gradations, it links up the lowest levels of inconscience with the highest level of superconscience, and makes possible man's journey from one end to the other. So when the ladder is formed, the road is prepared, the bridge is abridged. So naturally, what will happen? There will be journey. There will be, it links up the lowest level of inconscience, lowest level of inconscience with the highest level of superconscience, and makes possible man's journey from the one end to the other. Then again comes that another term, this graded consciousness. This graded consciousness is graded formations exerting pressure upon the other. Grades after one after another, world after another, that is that grades, that gradation. Everything actually what happens, formations exerting pressure upon the others, presses all into the outward movement. There is a pressure, there is a outward movement through this pressure. The steps of the stair of consciousness are presses of the soul in its return. So this pressure we can find, that is the pressure of the soul. We can find walls, piles, gradations, ascent, descent, and the pressure of the soul we can find here in this royal and glorious description. Again, there are grades that again we can find that gradation. There are grades that are formed in the downward plunge of the divine consciousness. Downward plunge, soul is ascending, and divine consciousness, that is downward plunge of the divine consciousness when it originally descended to save and redeem the spirit. This downward consciousness, its purpose purpose is to save and redeem the spirit, and that had issued forth in the creative adventure and got lost in the total nescience. This is already we know four things came initially, that truth it has become falsehood here, light became darkness, superconscience it became consciousness, so immortality it becomes death. So this divine consciousness is descending down. The purpose is that to save and redeem the spirit that is issued forth in the creative adventure, issued forth in the creative adventure. That is a great term. It is used and got lost in the total nescience. Entirely, it has got lost. So this divine consciousness is coming. It has to take it back. So right now we'll try to read a couple of lines here that Sri Aurobindo has described towards the end of this topic. Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully. A mind began to see and look at forms. A mind began to see and look at forms and groped for knowledge in the nascent night. So there is a quest in the nascent night, a mind began to see and feel. Caught in a blind stone grip force worked in a plan and made the sleep and a huge mechanical world creation. Then after the mind comes matter, that matter might grow conscious of its soul. After mind, that if this is created, the matter might grow conscious of its soul, and like a busy midwife in the lower worlds, so we can see that is the beautiful thing we can find here. So again, Sri Aurobindo has stepped a little forward in the process of his descriptions here in the course. Mind, a spirit dreamed in the crude cosmic wheel. A spirit dreamed in the crude cosmic wheel. Mind flowed unknowing in the sap of life, and the matter's breast suckled the divine idea. A spirit dreamed in the crude cosmic wheel. Mind flowed unknowing in the sap of life, and the matter's breast suckled the divine idea. Then actually started the miracle. After this, there started a miracle. A miracle of the what type of miracle? A miracle of the absolute was born. There was born the miracle of the absolute was born. Infinity put on a finite soul. Infinity put on a finite soul creation. All ocean lived within a wandering drop. Entire all ocean lived in a wandering drop. Infinity put on a finite soul. A time-made body housed the illimitable infinity. He has been housed in a time-made body from time to time, we have seen. To leave this mystery out, our souls came here. The purpose of our soul's birth, it is like this. I'll put it again. A miracle of the absolute was born, first condition. Second, infinity put on a finite soul. All ocean lived within a wandering drop. A time-made body housed the illimitable. To leave this mystery out, our souls came here. We'll find little just a slow reversals movement that took shape. A gas belched out from some invisible fire. So again, a mind began to see and look at forms. A mind, capital M, began to see and look at forms and groped for knowledge in the nascent night. There was a staring. So there was a visage. Everything started to come out. Again, we'll try to read little bit more. All these gradations of consciousness and the world's based upon it, gradations of consciousness, step by step stair and gradations of consciousness, and of course the world's based upon them are powerful factors in the evolutionary progression of the earth. These are evolutionary, very playing important role, playing powerful factors in the evolutionary progression of the earth. She is urged from below, guided from within, urged from below, guided from within, and pulled from the above. So this process. So you can feel gradation of consciousness and the worlds based upon them, powerful factor in the evolutionary progression of the earth. In this evolution, it helps in big way. So how it is, this progression, this earth, how it works, urged from below, guided from within, and pulled from the above. This is the master, there is a master intelligence working out the process of the mystery, the full meaning of which it will be evident only when it is done. So unless otherwise it is done, that evidence will not come to the purpose picture of to the surface. So this master intelligence is working behind everything. He is actually instrumental. So again, we can find few lines from Savitri. A seer within who knows the ordered plan. A seer within, everything is inside. A seer within who knows the ordered plan, concealed behind our momentary steps, concealed, seer within, ordered plan. So inspires our ascent to the viewless heights we have to ascend up. That inspiration coming inspires our ascent to the viewless heights. Again, as once the abysmal leap to the earth and life, his call had reached the traveler in time. The traveler here, the King Aswapati. So his call had reached the seer within, and his call had reached the traveler in time, apart in an unfathomed loneliness. This traveler now apart in unfathomed loneliness. He travelled in his mute and single strength. The traveller is moving upward, is staring upward, is visaging, of course, adventuring forward with his so-called, we have known, with his single strength. Bearing the burden of the world's desire, bearing the burden of the world's desire, initially we have discussed representing the entire human being. So bearing the burden of the world's desire, he is moving forward. A formless stillness called a nameless light. Just imagine how the call is coming. So a formless stillness called a nameless light. Above him was the whole immobile ray. Above him was the whole immobile ray. Around him the eternal stillness. With it he is moving. How? A formless stillness called a nameless light. There is a call, there is a light. So with above him was the white immobile ray looking above, and looking below, around him the eternal silences. With his he is actually getting the call and moving forward. No term was fixed to the high-pitched attempt. No term was fixed to the high-pitched attempt. Worlds after world disclosed its guarded powers. Worlds after worlds disclosed its guarded powers. Heaven after heaven its deep beatitudes. He is moving forward, but still the invisible magnet drew his soul. So, odds from within, we have already seen 3 steps. We have seen this process. With this, he is actually moving forward, being called, guided from within, urged from below, and pulled from the above. He is moving forward. That call is there, being guided. He is moving forward. Again, we'll go a little bit to the description. We are in the, of course, in the last part of the play. We are at the end point, standing at the end point, and of course this is the beginning of the world stair. We have to go a long way. This is actually containing 15 cantos. Finally, Sri Aurobindo quotes here, impelled by this inner seer, impelled by the inner seer, the seer who is seated within, who knows the entire plan and the entire destiny, entire work, everything he knows, and embodying the aspiration of the earth world, Aswapati journeys, being inspired, being called, being guided. So he is moving forward, his journeys, climbing step upon step towards the great world stair. Step by step through this grade, he is climbing upward towards his great adventure, of course, the great destiny. Detained by no glittering station of the world, he is not at all taking rest, no glittering station on the path, and he is alone and aloof apart, he is moving. Or heaven, across the eternal stillnesses around, and a great undiminishing light above. Here on the top, there is a great undiminishing light above. Again, we can find towards the goal, being to he sees not, but to which he is irresistibly drawn. He is drawn upon, he is called, he is guided, the apart and living within. He is traveling forward. Of course, he is not knowing, of course, he is not in a position to see this undiminished light, but things is irresistibly drawn on, and he is moving forward. And in the last description towards the front, Sri Aurobindo has quoted the beautiful thing. Sri Aurobindo quotes, a figure, soul on nature's giant stairs. That stair, how that stair? Giant stair, nature's giant stair, a figure, soul. Nobody is there, nobody is companion, nobody is actually coming with him. A figure, soul on nature's giant stair. He mounted towards an indiscernible end. mounted towards the indiscernible end. The end is indiscernible, nobody can find, and he is mounting for upwards toward that, through the process of this world stair towards an indiscernible end. On the bare summit of created things, he mounted towards an indiscernible end, a figure soul in nature's giant stair. So with this process, that world stair actually begins, and the great representative, the human representative of the race, of the world, of the plane, he is moving forward in the process of his world stair to his high destiny. Let us stop here now. Vande Mataram.